Welcome back to the channel, folks. Wildlife Ranger here on YouTube, where today, mid-May 2025, on this glorious spring evening, we set forth to find another in the 50 Plants in 50 Days series. So I hope you can join me to find and identify the next plant in the series. The plant that we are looking for today is known as Dame's Violet, or Hesperides matronalis, also known as Sweet Rocket. The flower head presents itself as a raceme of 20 to 30 flowers ranging from white, mauve, pink through to violet. The distinctive fragrance of the flower in the evening gives off a subtle undertone of cinnamon due to a compound known as cinnamon alcohol. The plant is sought after as an edible in the early stages of its development, as implied by the name Dame's Rocket. The plant has become naturalised into damp, wet habitats, but never falls far from human habitation. Dame's Violet is known by a number of common vernacular names as listed, and they all impinge around the scented fragrance liberated in the evening. The plant's binomial or Latin name is perhaps more revealing, with the Latin prefix Hesperus first coined by the Greek Theophrastus, meaning of the evening, probably referring to the scented fragrance of the flowers late in the day, which has a subtle undertone of cinnamon. The Latin suffix matronalis has two possible connotations. The first is the fragrance scent or perfume relating to older women, and the second is the possible medicinal treatment used from the Dioscoridean herbals for the medical conditions of women. Let's quickly summarise the habitat of the plant. It colonises open, disturbed habitats on waste ground, old quarries, woods, hedgerows, roadside verges, and damp streamsides and riverbanks, and is never found far from human habitation. In the clips that follow, we illustrate the plant in damp meadows and the riverbanks of the River Calder. Hi folks, welcome to my channel, Wildlife Ranger here on YouTube, where today we've come again to illustrate the habitat variation on this plant, this white flowered plant in this instance, known as Dame's Violet. And we've met this plant on the banks of the River Calder, and today we are on damp meadow flushes, as you can see from the meadow behind me. So the plant we're looking at is Dame's Violet. It comes in white and purple forms, and as you can see, it's growing by wayside and footpath in a damp condition. And this is the second habitat that we've met this plant in, where we found it along the river bank. In these clips we see the plant on the banks of the River Calder and is spread along the riverine corridor. As always, before we embark in our journey into the field, we look at the features and characteristics of the plant which will enable us to identify and find it, commencing with the flowers. This plant is a member of the family Brassicaceae, or the cabbage family, or in the good old days it was known as the cruciferae. It's a biennial or short-lived perennial which can grow up to or greater than 100 centimetres in height, at least 3 to 4 foot. It has foliage in the first years of its life cycle and flowers in the second year with white, pink or purple inflorescence. The flowers present themselves in racemes of 15 to 30 flowers, which are fragranted or scented particularly towards the evening, with a touch of cinnamon in their scent. The flower has 4 petals about 2 centimeters in diameter, and these cross-like flowers give the name in the old Cruciferae family. Turning to the detailed flower structure, the flower has 6 stamens in 2 groups of 4, the closest of which to the ovary are longer than the 2 opposite stamens, which are shorter. The stigmas are 2-lobed, and the plant has 4 sepals which are erect and form a mock tube around the claws of the petals. The flowering period of the plant is between May and August. There is one similar species known as phlox, which can be readily distinguished by the fact that phlox has 5 petals and opposite leaves, as compared to Dame's Violet with 4 petals and alternative leaves. The following image is the plant phlox, which is from the ancient Greek phare, and the confusion is likely to arise in the horticultural setting. Let us allow the flowers to speak for themselves. We turn our attention now to the leaves of Dame's Violet, which are alternate up the stem, decreasing in size towards the top. The leaves and stem are hairy with short hairs, and the leaves are generally without leaf stalk, known as a petiole, and are short or absent. The leaves are lanceolate, mostly stalkless, with toothed margins up to 5 inches long, and the base of the leaf is rounded and the leaf tip tapers into a sharpish point. Let's take a close look at the lower, mid and upper leaves. Well, that's it from me, folks. I hope you have enjoyed the content of this episode, and I thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video or found it interesting or educational, please like, share and subscribe to help this channel bring you the next in the series. Let us hope in future seasons you will recognise this pleasant scent of this fragrant friend. In the meantime, whatever the weather may be, get out there and enjoy the outdoors.